Hi, today we are going to talk a little bit about Lord. What does that mean compared to King? We know people call Jesus Lord, and they talk about him being Lord of their life, and we talk about Jesus reigning as King. And I think a lot of people get confused because they think that Jesus, that means, is reigning right now in some way. And he isn't, because the kingdom that God has laid out in Scripture for us teaches us that only when his kingdom comes, when Jesus returns to the earth, will then his king be set on the throne in Jerusalem, and he will be ruling over the entire world, over all the nations. And so until Jesus is in Jerusalem, sitting on the throne, actually on this earth, ruling over the nations, he isn't reigning as king. In government and politics, an inauguration is the process of swearing a person into office and thus making that person king or president. It usually occurs through a formal ceremony or a special event. I think we can say, though, that Jesus is Lord of our life. He is our master, and we follow him. He told us that we should follow him, to take up our cross and to follow him. We should get on the narrow path. He said it's hard at times, but having him be Lord of our life is different than having him being king over all the nations. Lord, on the other hand, is someone or something having power, authority, or influence, a master or ruler. Jesus is known as the Lord of our lives now. So when we choose to follow Jesus, we become yoked to him. So if we become a Christian and we choose to do that, that means we're choosing to follow Jesus, and we have made him Lord of our life instead of our own self being Lord and deciding what we want and what we're going to do and what's right and wrong. We are choosing to accept what he taught as right and wrong, at what he taught as truth, compared to what the world tells us or what we may have thought before. So when we choose to follow Jesus, we are choosing to be yoked together with him. We've done other lessons on that, how we're yoked with him. And if we're yoked with him, we are not deciding to go to the left if he's going to the right. Whatever he taught in Scripture is what we need to follow and what we need to believe and what we need to proclaim as well and teach and tell other people about. So when we become a Christian, we do make him Lord of our life. We do make him the master of our life. It's not just some spiritual talk about, oh, Jesus is Lord of my life. If he's Lord of your life, he is the master. He's the one who says what to do and what not to do. Your life has changed. It doesn't just go on like it used to be. So for today, you need to decide, is Jesus Lord of your life? Is he the master? And if he's the master, you need to know what he taught and what he says about all these different topics. When people talk about doctrine, it's not just about Jesus being a human or the one God or the kingdom on the earth. Those are all very, very important teachings. But also teaching about loving your enemies or being kind to people or not lying, not practicing sorcery, and just everyday things, like I said, about being kind and thoughtful of other people. That is all doctrine too. Those are teachings that Jesus taught. And so if he is Lord of our lives, he's Lord of our tongues, of what we say. He's Lord of our minds, what we think about. He's Lord of our whole life, what we do. The things we enjoy doing may not be in line with what he says is right or wrong. So if they are not in line, those things, we need to give them up. That's a sacrifice. That's putting your life on the altar. What you enjoy doing, you're maybe giving up because it no longer fits with your Lord and your master. Other times, they may be okay things, but he's asked you to give them up for his sake. Just like when I gave up playing soccer to go to Bible college or to go to Russia. When we choose to follow him, he may ask us to give up other things. And you just never know what it might be. But the reward that he offers us when he returns, when he comes back to the earth, is going to be much greater and a lot better than anything that we could have in life today, that life could have given us, whether it's sports or hobbies or work or family, anything like that. we can have a much better reward than anything life could give us today. And again, I'm not saying you can't enjoy those things, and you should take care of your family and show love to them and care for them. And if you're a young person, obey your parents. And you should do those things. But ultimately, Jesus is Lord. He is our master. And if anybody on earth today, whether it be your parents, whether it be teachers, or anything that you hear from other people, even if they're people in authority, the government, you have to look and see, what did Jesus have to say about it? What does the Bible teach? Because we are told that we have to obey God rather than man. So we should obey what is written in the Bible. If somebody, even a position in authority, says something that is contrary and goes against what is written in the Bible. So if Jesus is Lord of your life, you're going to follow Jesus and you're going to follow his Father and his God. But he has given this world over to us now. And Satan is the God of this age. He's allowed to rule and to influence people to do evil things. And God has allowed that because he's given us free will. So we need to choose the right thing. We need to choose who is Lord over our life. Is it Jesus? Is it ourselves? Or is it just other things in life? But when we make Jesus Lord of our life, we are going to be trying to be every day more like him. We're going to be conformed to him. We're going to try to look like Jesus, sound like Jesus, and be like Jesus. But that doesn't mean he is here ruling in any way. The kingdom is not here yet. He said in his parable he was going away, and then he will come back and bring the kingdom with him, which means he will bring it about when he comes back. And that is what we are looking for and waiting for. And right now serving him for is to share that with other people, that there is a great day coming when Jesus is going to come through the clouds. He is going to raise the dead and change those who are alive, make those people, those faithful believers, immortal, and they are going to rule over the earth as a kingdom of priests during the first 1,000 years of that reign of God. His kingdom has come and it's never going to end. And those first 1,000 years are just the start. And then, as we've talked before, we have the white throne judgment. And then what goes on after that into eternity is going to be amazing. And we have no idea of how great that is going to be. But I hope that you will make Jesus Lord of your life now by committing to follow him, by committing to follow his teachings. If you're following Jesus, you're following his teachings. And to follow his teachings, you need to know what they are. So make Jesus Lord of your life. Let him be your master to determine what you do and what you think, what's right and what's wrong. And wait for him to come as king. And when he does, that will be a great, great day. The saints of the highest one will receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, for all ages to come. You have purchased for God persons from every tribe, language, people, and nation. You have appointed them as a kingdom and priests to serve our God, and they will reign on the earth. They came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. David knew that God had sworn to him with an oath to seat one of his descendants on his throne. David, by foreseeing this, spoke about the resurrection of the Christ. The sovereignty, the dominion, and the greatness of all the kingdoms under the whole heaven will be given to the people of the saints of the highest one. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all the dominions will serve and obey him. In the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which will never be destroyed, and that kingdom will not be left for another people. It will crush and put an end to all of these kingdoms, but it will itself endure forever. Then comes the end, when he hands over the kingdom to the God and Father, when he has abolished all rule and all authority and all power. For he must reign until he has put all his enemies under his feet. The last enemy that will be abolished is death.
Speeches for His Majesty!
Receive the royal scepter, the ensign of kingly power and justice. God save the King!